Hi and welcome. I'm Namrata, founder of Keemiya Creatives and co-creator of BookBots India. And I'm so excited to be here at Ananke's Festival of Literature this year. Today, I want to talk to you about something that comes up in almost every publishing conversation I have. Should I try to publish or promote my book in India? Now, I'm sure as an author, sometime you would also have definitely thought about this. That's the question many South Asian writers, especially those based outside the country, are quietly asking. And let me tell you this, it's not just a valid question, it's a smart one. You might be wondering for the reasons, so I have them all listed for you here. Why India? India is big, India is vibrant, India is chaotic. And of course, you see the numbers, the growth that we see in Indian publishing industry. It is considered to be one of the largest English reading populations in the world. Regional language translations are on the rise. We have a booming digital readership, but also fragmented platforms. And of course, a very, very, very vibrant place, though sometimes misunderstood for South Asian stories. India is a reading nation. Let's look at some of the numbers why I claim that. We are, of course, the second largest English language publishing market in the world. We have more than 90,000 books published in India annually. We have over 500 million Indians under the age of 25, many of whom are first generation English readers. And Indian publishing industry is worth 10,000 plus crores and is growing at a 19% CAGR. A quick insight, India is one of the few countries in the world where print book sales are still rising, especially in regional languages and children's books. And of course, India is without doubt the most visible book market in South Asia. But let's be clear, visibility does not automatically mean access. Just because you can put your book on Amazon India or hire a distributor does not mean your book will find its readers. So, the opportunity is huge. Definitely, yes. But there are caveats. You're not just entering a market, you are entering a massive reading culture. Indian readers are loyal, curious, and price sensitive. There is space for diaspora voices, but they need to feel rooted, not removed. The average Indian reader discovers books differently, buys differently, and follows different influencers. A quick insight, if you write for Indian readers without understanding how they read, you will miss the mark no matter how good your book is. So, what does this mean for all of you as an author or a publisher? It means India is a land of potential, but only if you speak its language. And by that, I don't mean Hindi or any other regional languages of the country. I mean the language of Indian readers' heart, their habits, and the hangups. So let's unpack what it really takes to get published, build presence, and be remembered in India. So India is often seen as the publishing hub of the region, which is quite true to an extent. By being the sixth largest publishing market in the world, by as Nelson's India Book Report market says, it is estimated to be around 720 billions. That's nearly USD $9 billion. And India is big. Of course, it is. We have one of the fastest growing markets for children's books and regional translations. But at the same time, it's also deeply complex. We have a huge English language readership, a rapidly growing regional language translation scene, very big names like Penguin, Harper, alongside fantastic indie presses like Zuban, Yoda Press, but here's what doesn't get talked about enough. It's still really hard for South Asian authors outside India to break in. So now, the next question should be why? Getting published here is not straightforward, as I clearly mentioned to you, and there are multiple reasons for that. So, most Indian publishers prioritize local authors first. easier logistics, more marketing value, and cultural familiarity. Second, of course, cross border submissions often get stuck, sometimes legally, sometimes in the slush pile. The other reason that I can think of is many South Asian stories are seen as either too local or not Indian enough for the mainstream. So even if you're writing a powerfully nuanced novel set in Dhaka or Karachi for that matter, it may not fit the imaginary mold of the Indian market. Let's say your book does get published in India, or maybe you're self published and looking to build readership here. So marketing is where actually things get tricky. India publishes 10 thousands of books every year. So the question comes, how do you cut through the noise? Traditional media, tough, unless you are backed by a known publisher or have a PR team. Bookstores, limited shelf space, especially for authors outside the mainstream. Social media, to an extent, yes. But algorithms don't care about your accent, your literary merit, or your regional roots. But here's the real kicker. Many authors assume that a good book will market itself. But in India, where attention spans are short and new voices are flooding the scene, visibility requires intention. What really works is targeted outreach to literary media, review platforms, podcasts, strategic engagement with Indian bookstagrammers and influencers, well timed presence in literary festivals, cultural conversations, discussions, and an authentic storytelling about the book's why, not just the what. That is what is important. Common mistakes authors make. So let me take you through some of, let me start with first an example. Because I've worked with authors based out of India who are incredibly passionate about reaching to Indian readers. They had great books, strong voices, and a deep connection to the South Asian experience. But marketing a book in a different country, well, that comes with its own set of hurdles. At first, it's all excitement. The book's out, the reviews are in, the next logical step is let's reach India. And then the reality starts to sink in. You cannot be physically present. No bookstore events happen, no panel appearances, no meet the author coffee chats. Even when LitFests are happening, you are in a different time zone or hemisphere. Print media becomes tricky. You pitch to an Indian newspaper or magazine, but it's hard to know. Will the story strike a chord here? Does it sound local or foreign? And often the outlet wants a physical copy. And here comes the hurdle number three. Sending books is a logistical headache. Custom delays, postal restrictions, and of course, not to forget, costs that make your eyes water. And if you are using Amazon's print on demand, sometimes the India version of your book is not even available, or it's marked at a price most Indian readers would not touch. And then come the payment platforms. Cards don't go through, or Indian platforms don't accept international billing. It becomes a whole tech puzzle before you've even reached the marketing part. Online promotions can also feel disconnected due to time differences. You post, responses are slow, you reach out to bookstagrammers, and many ask for a copy first. Fair enough. But now we are back to square one. Postage, customs, wait times, it's a loop. And then you start wondering, am I doing something wrong? Or is it just this complicated? The truth is, it's both. It is complicated, but it is also nifty. If you understand the Indian book market's rhythms, its readers, and how things move, that's how you can work this around. So I've seen this happen with authors I have worked with, and we have helped them find smart local solutions, whether it is coordinating with Indian distributors, sending digital press kits that do get picked up, or building influencer campaigns that don't require shipping books to cities. There are ways to make your book travel even if you can't. And that's where a local partner like BookBot India can actually make an influence there for you. So, why is it important for you to have a marketing partner? Is because being far away does not mean your story can't come close to Indian readers. It just needs to arrive in a way that makes sense for them and you. So let's take a moment to talk about that what goes wrong. Not because authors are not doing enough, but because they are doing it without the right context. So, here are some of the most common mistakes we have seen when authors, especially those based in India, try to market their books here. The number one problem and a pet peeve is pricing that does not work for Indian readers. If you're setting your price in dollars, pounds, or euros, or using a print on demand from outside India, your book may land on Indian websites with a price tag of 799, 999, or even more. And for a debut author, by a debut book or by an unknown author, that's simply not going to fly. Even ebooks can look overpriced compared to what Indian readers usually pay. Let's accept the fact India is a highly price sensitive market, and most Indian readers are cost conscious. They're often reading across multiple languages, relying on library platforms, or discovering books through bundles and offers. So, what's the fix? Adjust your KDP dashboard to prioritize the Indian market. Set pricing in Indian rupees manually. Explore print runs within India for local distribution. Or work with publishers who understand the market and can get your book into local bookstores at the right price. While it is also important for you to know which platforms work, which language works, and of course, which tonality, where do Indian readers discover their books. So it is very important. Are you on Amazon India Recommends? Are you on the literary websites? Are you on offline book clubs or regional fests? Here's another blind spot: platform awareness. A lot of international authors will say we are doing a TikTok campaign, but TikTok is banned in India. Others focus heavily on X, formerly known as Twitter, but in many cases, it does not actually drive book sales from here. Meanwhile, some platforms that do move the needle, like Instagram, YouTube Shorts, even WhatsApp communities, are often ignored. And the biggest discovery platforms are still Amazon India's recommended engine, Flipkart for certain genres, Bookstagram communities, review blogs and podcasts, and literary media. If you don't know where Indian readers browse, buy, and talk about books, you are essentially shouting into the void. The third and the biggest pet peeve again for me is assuming Indian book culture mirrors the West. This one's subtle but really important. India's reader base is vast and diverse, but the behavior is unique. Readers love author reader interactions. Readers love author reader interactions. Book clubs are hyperlocal and growing. Regional literature in translation is trending, but has a very different audience than English romance, Indian mythology, or even political nonfiction. And many Indian readers are first generation English readers, meaning your messaging has to be very clear, grounded, and emotionally resonant. So bringing in Western marketing language or Western validation does not always land here. You have got to meet Indian readers where they are and not where you think they will be. Now, I come to the most interesting part of my presentation. So, I'm sure many of you didn't expect this. If you are outside India, you might be not knowing this. And even if you do, I just want to add a little more to it. So, did you know in India we have an app called Blinkit that delivers groceries, vegetables, and household items in like under 10 minutes? Yeah. And that's not even the wild part. You can actually now order books on Blinkit and get them in 10 minutes too. Yes, actual physical books. That's the level of access, convenience, and speed the Indian reader is getting today. They are not just looking for what to read, they are expecting it to show up fast, affordable, and with options. Now, think about this from an author's perspective. What does it mean to market your book in a place where books are literally delivered faster than a pizza? It means Indian readers are spoiled for choice and attention. If your book does not show up in the right place at the right time, in the right format or price, They will scroll past, swipe away, or simply choose something that arrives in 10 minutes. And it's no longer a challenge, it's more like a wake up call. To be present in this market, you don't just need a distribution, you need visibility, relatability, and reach. And that's where smart, India specific marketing comes in, bringing us along with it. So, what you need is more of a strategy, more of intent, more of local insight. And for that, you need to hire a local PR firm who works on this, who is able to get you publisher consults, you are able to get your media outreach, approach influencers for you. That is where it is important for this. And what is also important is that at Bookbox India, your book doesn't need to be discovered, it needs to be accessible, relatable, and in conversation with the Indian reading culture. And this is exactly what we help authors figure out. This is the gap we are trying to bridge with BookBox India. We are a book marketing collective that works with South Asian authors from across the region and diaspora to build their presence in the Indian literary landscape. From choosing the right price point and platform to planning launches that actually make sense for this space, we work with authors across South Asia and the diaspora to make their stories don't just land, they resonate. What does this mean? This means custom publicity strategies for your book, connecting you with the right reviewers, media, influencers, designing campaigns that honor your voice while expanding your reach, and if needed, consultations on how to pitch and repitch to Indian publishers. We are not a giant agency. We are a passionate, nimble team that understands both the regional nuances and the global pulsing pulse. So we are here because we genuinely believe South Asian stories deserve to be read everywhere. So, where does this leave us? India can be an incredibly springboard for South Asian authors, but only if you approach it well, approach it with a plan, approach it with a clarity. This market rewards everyone. And what is important is that you have to have storytelling with emotional and political depth. You have to have authenticity over performance. And we also look for smart strategic outreach, not just hustle, but most importantly, it rewards persistence. If you are a South Asian author listening to this, whether you're from Lahore, Jaffna, Kathmandu, or the diaspora in Toronto or Doha, I want to leave you with this thought. India is not the final destination, it's a door. And like any door, you just don't knock, you prepare, you position, you plan. And that's when it opens, you walk in as yourself. If anything I said today resonated with you, and if you are exploring publishing in India or just want your book to travel further here, you're welcome to reach out. We would love to listen to your story. We would love to help you spread the word, whether through Keemiya for editorial guidance or BookBots India for marketing and publicity. And of course, thank you to Ananke for making this space for conversations like this. And thank you for being here, listening, dreaming, and writing. We will see you and your stories on the shelf soon. Thank you so much.